bankruptcy of the United States of America?
Yeah, it happened in 33.
1933, that's exactly right. The Emergency Banking Act, this was just shortly after FDR, President Roosevelt, came into office.
Actually, that's when they quit giving the banks gold.
You're exactly right. That it was the bank holiday. In fact, it is the moment in time when they confiscated all gold holdings from American citizens. It became illegal. And for many people, again, so many folks have a hard time believing that piece, which you yourself are informed about. And yet we have, in recent news, just over the last few weeks, the case, I believe it's in Pennsylvania, with the family that had held some gold coinage from dating back to that point in history. And our good old federal government, and John, you'd asked earlier, the Department of Justice, why aren't they looking out over this horrific medical experimentation? Well, it's because they're devoting their resources to trying to confiscate every last piece of gold coinage, including the family that had some of those gold coins. They devote their time and their resources
to... Which gold coin are you talking about?
John, let me do a quick search if I can. I might not...
Because I don't think they can do that again.
Oh, no, they can and they have, because this coinage dates to pre-1933. The court decision is now final.
Illegal gold you're talking about.
It's debatable if it's legal or unlegal, just like lawful, unlawful is a whole other debate or question.
Oh, yeah, well,
if we're talking about our constitutional rights as opposed to, this corporation of the United States and what they impose. So, maybe I'll hit that article here on the break, John. I can pull that up and quote a bit more from that for you. But the decision was just passed down and made final within the last 10 days. I recall reading about it, so I'll get a hold of that article.
What are they going to do in the last 10 days?
This was a court case.
Are they going to do another roundup?
No, sir. This was a court case regarding a family in Pennsylvania that had held some of this gold coinage that dated back to that period in time.
The illegal gold. So what they consider illegal gold. You should not have that in your possession.
That particular term, illegal, though, is one that I don't care for because
I don't either.
Yeah, under constitutional law and common law, they have no right to make that legal or illegal. But under the auspices of that Emergency Banking Act of 1933, there was a clause in it which gave FDR martial law powers, emergency war powers, in essence, if you will. And one of the executive orders in there was the confiscation of gold. And so according to that, they had the right to confiscate that. Supposedly the family did not have the right to hang on to it. But this is gold coinage produced by the U.S. Mint. And to use the term illegal or unlawful becomes a debate about whether or not the president had the right to do that.
Don't you think that's funny?
John, I'll tell you.
Don't you think it's funny that you can have legal and illegal? That's just totally mind-boggling to me, you know. It's like the Canadian government may say to me, you know, you have to hand in all your gold. And I want to say, well, come and get it.
There you have it. That's exactly it, John. And to go back to your point earlier, your original question, why doesn't the Department of Justice get involved in trying to resolve some of these things? Here's the reason why, John. Technically, going back all the way to 1868 with the 14th Amendment that I talked about just a bit ago, technically from that moment forward, the United States Corporation has had the ability to inflict on the population the equivalent of corporate policy as opposed to U.S. citizens having any kind of guarantees or rights protected by the Constitution.
I know that.
Okay, you're familiar with that. And so as a result, the Department of Justice is nothing more. It is nothing more than a
handbag.
Well, you got it exactly right. It's nothing more than the armed wing of collectors for the government, enforcers also, if you will, to do with as the executive branch dictates that they ought to do, because we are still under martial law. We are under, ever since Lincoln declared martial law after the Southern delegates to the House and the Senate walked out over the Civil War crisis.
It's never been repealed. So, you're still under martial law.
That's correct, yes. It has been It has been reinforced at times, almost sort of like renewing your wedding vows, but it has never been repealed. We have and that is the reason why presidential executive orders and signing orders have had the force of law this entire time as well.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But why doesn't the Department of Justice get involved?
Well, it certainly makes sense that they should from a citizen's perspective, right, John? But
yeah.
But the difference is that
like what other branch do you have that's going to do any work for you? Because you've got like greedy other branches that are going to just grab whatever power they can.
That is
the Department of
unfortunately
Justice is the only out.
Sorry, go ahead, John.
The Department of Justice is the only way out. But it's now totally subsumed by the same ideology.
It is absolutely, yes. It is absolutely corrupt. The FBI, the CIA, we cannot count on anyone to be our saviors. The only saviors that we have are ourselves. We have to become informed, John. We have to make sure that every American is awake and aware of exactly what has occurred, what has been done to them in the past, what is being done to them right now. That's our first step. Our second step is we have to become more local. The last bastion of hope that we have is each and every local sheriff all the way across the United States.
Your sheriff department may be your only out.
Sorry, say again, John?
Your sheriff departments may be your only out.
I agree with you. I think that you're correct. Unfortunately, we know that several of them are in the bag as well, but yet we also can look around at the examples. Yeah, but yet we can see many of the shining examples of where sheriff's departments are pushing back against federal control, federal consolidation of control. They're saying, no, this is our jurisdiction. You have no right to operate here. We're in control. Now move along.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah, and we just have to, John, you, I, and everybody listening right now, we have to use every resource in our bag of tricks to help awaken our friends, our family, our neighbors, make them aware.
Embolden those that are constitutionally true.
Yes, sir.
We have to embolden them somehow.
That's absolutely correct, John. Absolutely correct. Tell me that, John, what advice would you give to anyone listening right now about their next steps? What next steps should people take in order to help our cause?
Just check your courts, find out what pledges do they make, and do they honor them every day?
There you go. And John, my last question for you, you're clearly very informed. What are some of the information resources that you might recommend to folks tuning in, listening right now? Some of the places where you have gotten your information. What do you recommend to others who are trying to put some of these pieces together for themselves?
Oh, crikey. Well, I got most of it from RPN. I don't mean to be turning into a snake biting its butt, but I got a lot of it from RBN.
Well, I have to agree, John. In all of the research that I've done in just about all the four corners of media resources, I've not found anything that compares to RBN.
It was RBN that got me researching this stuff. I've got a university degree in political science, actually, which I now realize is totally worthless because it's nothing but nonsense. But from maturing a little longer, from RBN, I've gone and checked out all kinds of stuff, and now I'm getting a better understanding. That's all.
I think you're right on target, John. John Statmiller, Robbie Knoll, Jeffrey Bennett, Phil Posderick. The lineup is just replete start to finish. Alan Watt in the evenings. I know I'm not mentioning everybody, but...
No. This is not a plug for RBN. But Statmiller, even though he's gruffy and he really lays it out and gets gruff, a lot of the stuff I got was from him.
Absolutely. I'm much the same way in my course of education, John, as well. So, well, John, I appreciate your call very much. I hope that you have safe travels as you're moving around up there in Alberta, and please tune into the program and call in again sometime.
I will, and I enjoy when you're hosting.
Well, thank you so much, John. I appreciate that, and I'll send you the check in the mail. Take care, John. Thanks again. Folks, we'll be right back after the break. Please stay tuned. Welcome back to RBN and the Crimson Pill with your host, Antonin Fiore, folks. As we wind down to the top of the hour, I am realizing once again that this stack of multiple articles that I had hoped to get to will have to take another bite from the elephant as we move into tomorrow evening's program. But I would like to take a moment and pause, kind of in reflection here for a moment. I appreciated so much that call from John in Alberta, because it gives us an opportunity to reflect on the idea that every one of us in life, if we are doing more than just jumping on the hamster wheel and running as fast as we can for the profit of millionaires and billionaires and not for our own profit, we realize that we have something new to learn and more to learn with each and every day of our life. And anyone who feels that they have learned it all, number one, they're deluding themselves. And number two, odds are that they're going to miss out on some of the most amazing things that can happen in their lives. Folks, myself, I was much like John in Alberta. I grew up with a traditional set of beliefs about my country, about the way the world worked. I went off to university. I got my academic accomplishments achieved. I went on into a career. Until I hit my early 30s, I was really, I guess what you might say, walking the American dream, but then I found out it was just an illusion. I told you last night about my awakening. Many of us talk about the moment that we awakened to the reality of what's happening in the world. I refer to mine as my rude awakening because it occurred outside of this country. It occurred in Argentina, as a matter of fact, when I was able to see and be in a couple of places of incredible historical significance and direct significance and ramification to who is behind the scenes today, the hidden hand, the man behind the curtain, pulling the strings. We don't have enough time for me to go into more detail there, folks, but I was a lifelong member of the Republican Party at that point. I was a machine cut, dried, built, and wired for commerce and for the American way. I wore the red, white, and blue. I probably would have wrestled someone to the death if they had anything bad to say about Ronald Reagan. And folks, in a very short span of time, vis-a-vis my rude awakening, all of that changed, and I began to investigate. I began to look into these questions. And over the course of time, I have found that this world is absolutely nothing whatsoever like what you've been told that it is. Once again, refer to my interview with Jordan Maxwell on my YouTube channel, Crimson Pill TV. Refer to my interview with Dr. Stanley Monteith on the YouTube channel. Also, the interview with Dr. Joseph Farrell. All of these are pieces in the puzzle, if you will. They are required reading. I'm assigning you the homework because we don't have enough time in this 1 hour format, although very soon we are expanding to the 2 hour format. We'll be able to take more of your calls. We'll be able to have guests with lengthier discussions. But for now, folks, please know, I say these things because I care. Because I care about our former republic, about our Constitution, and because I care about you. And every one of us needs to awaken. Ladies and gentlemen, please tune in tomorrow night. We'll continue our journey down this path. Folks, have very safe travels. Be safe. Take care. Bye-bye.